Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to the All About Favor channel. I am your host, Pastor KZ. I want to remind you today that never underestimate the power of two. Never underestimate the power of two. What am I saying? I am saying that if two of you get together and touch and agree on a thing, believe me, sit back and watch how God turns that situation around. Believe me, don't underestimate the power of two, and don't ever underestimate the power of prayer, because prayer changes things and it can turn things around. Now, let's talk about today the need for emotional healing. The need for emotional healing. Again, thank you on last night for all of your emails about the topic of the family secrets. And we're going to continue this periodically throughout, each week or every other week or so. We'll talk about that because that is a difficult topic. Now, let's talk about emotional healing and the need for it. Emotional healing is a process, and that process to get emotionally healed, that takes time, especially if you are truly, really scarred and broken and going through something. And let me say, it is different for each person, but I do know that healing, especially dealing with the emotions and the heart, it takes time. And sometimes, depending on the issue, which could be grief, it could be trauma, it could be a broken heart, it could be a betrayal, you've got to understand it depends on what exactly it is. And the healing, in order for it to take place, the first thing is you got to understand that there are cycles to healing, and there's no set time of how long a person should heal or how long it takes a person to heal. Some people seem to think, especially with bereavement and grief, they seem to think, well, it's over when you leave the cemetery, move on. But you're forgetting the other steps to that is, all right, now you've got to finish up, maybe pack up that person's belongings or pack up their home. It's so many other levels to that, and each level you go through, something gets triggered inside of you. So let me say this, don't let nobody tell you how long you should grieve. Don't let nobody tell you how long after a breakup or a divorce, girl, you should move on, get on over it. Man, move on. No, these things take time. And sometimes people try to go ahead and move quickly into the next relationship simply because they don't want to deal with the hurt. They don't want to deal with the pain that they have experienced. Or a lot of people are very good at lying to themselves. There's so many people living a lie, and y'all know what I'm talking about. You keep this stuff built up inside of you, and then you just after a while pretend like it didn't happen, or you act like you're okay when you're really not okay. You haven't healed yet. So the healing process takes time. And I guess what I'm saying is it might not have an end date. This is something. Now, why am I saying this? Because sometimes you just avoid talking about it. You try to avoid thinking about it. You don't want to deal with it. So you use the avoidance technique. So sometimes you just go through year after year after year, and it just keeps going on because you avoid even dealing with the issue. Now, it takes a person to, first of all, be very honest with themselves. And sometimes the way for people to even make it through the day is to avoid talking about it or avoid thinking about it. I know that's a double negative there, because on the one hand, I'm telling you, avoiding it doesn't change it and it doesn't help bring healing to you. But then on the another hand, sometimes the more you talk about that thing, the more it stays with you. And see, sometimes we got to understand, just talking about a situation that has happened to you or something going on in your life, when you talk about it over and over again, at some point you got to stop talking about it and start actually sitting down, making some changes. You understand what I'm saying? What they say, stop talking about it and be about it. You know how many people say, well, I'm going to leave this time, I'm going to leave that time, I'm going to do this, and they never do anything. So what I'm saying, on the one hand, you might have to avoid it and not talk about it and not think about it, because emotionally you're a wreck and you're not ready to have that conversation. But at some point, you are going to have to pull yourself up and begin to make baby steps to pull yourself and move forward with your life. So sometimes, like I say, no matter what you go through, emotional healing can only happen when you are ready. It doesn't matter who tell you you need to do this or do that. It doesn't start until you get ready for it to stop. You know, change does not happen until you are prepared to make the change yourself. And the first step in that is being honest about the situation. You can lie to people all day long. You can even lie to yourself, but you cannot lie to the Most High God, because He knows you better than anybody. So you got to start being able to face reality, because no matter what happens in your life, none of us is granted a do-over. What has happened has happened. Sometimes we wish we can go back, but you can't go back. Also, when you face reality, sometimes you have to stop and say to yourself, something inside me is broken and I am in need of repair. And that's okay. See, some people don't want to admit that, you know what, I'm a little weak right now. I need some help. I need some strength. And that's what the Word of God tells us. The strong bears the infirmities of the weak. So when you are feeling weak, that goes back to the power of two. Get on that phone and call your prayer partner. Get on that phone and call your mama, your auntie. If mama's gone, call your auntie. You know, call your sister. Call somebody. But whatever you do, don't you stay stuck there in that rut. Don't you stay stuck in that depression, because believe me, it will drown you. Emotional well-being is important. Let me also say this. Some people just can't relate to your story. That's not the person to call, correct? You got to call somebody who can pour into you when you're at your weakest, when you are most vulnerable. You've got to have somebody in your circle that you can pick up that phone or stop by or call them and say, I need you to come by, or just pick up the phone and say, I need you. And you know that person going to be on their way. You got people like that in your circle. Because if you don't, you need to reevaluate your circle. And if you don't have somebody in there who truly, truly riding with you and down, got your back, you need to reevaluate that circle. Because you need to have somebody who can listen, someone who can give you some good sound counsel, and somebody who can actually tell you, you wrong. You need to clean that up. That's what true love is. True friendship. True relationship with family is, you know, I love you, sis, but that was foul there. You need to straighten that out. You didn't handle that right. And you've got to be able to accept correction and bring yourself into correction, because sometimes to get through the emotional healing process, you might have to deal with a very difficult truth about yourself. And some people don't like looking in the mirror. I think I did a video on looking in the mirror. So sometimes it is never, let me be clear, it's never easy to heal, but the healing process must begin in order for you to have peace. And some things that have happened in your life, you will never, ever be the same again. Never. But what you can do is try to move past it where you have a level of functionality. That's how I'll put that. All of us, and I include myself, all of us, we need emotional healing at some point in our lives. Keep having birthdays, you younger ones. Keep having birthdays. You'll understand what I'm talking about. The experiences and the challenges of life has caused some difficult emotions. Think about, what are some of these things that have caused you some emotions? What about some things from your childhood? Childhood hurt, loss of a loved one, breakups, sicknesses, and different ailments in your body. I know that there are many, many more, but you've got to understand it's time for you to heal emotionally. Because you know what? When emotionally things going on with you and ain't right, it can cause physical problems. Because when you stressed out, you always dealing with anxiety and depression. The next thing you know, your eating habits is out of whack. Your sleeping pattern is out of whack. And you done got high blood pressure and all these different things that is directly related to a lack of emotional well-being. As I always used to tell you, self-care is the best care. And y'all, emotional health, that is very, very crucial. And if you have not begun to prioritize the betterment of your emotional wellness, it's time to get started. Y'all, it's a new year. It's a new season for you. It's time to get yourself focused now. It's time to just stop, take a breath, and say, I got to get myself focused. I got to renew my mind. I got to get on a better path, because right now I'm stuck in a rut and I'm not doing anything. I feel like a rat on a hamster wheel. I got to pull myself together because I'm no good. I'm not walking in my purpose. So in order to walk in your purpose, you got to get healthy. You got to get focused. Find some balance. Stop getting overwhelmed and all over the place. Always prioritize your peace. At the end of the video, comment, like, and share. I pray that this video you can benefit from it. And please share it with somebody else. I will see you back for your midweek word. Have a wonderful day.